Would you like to see a garden that needs no watering, no digging, no fertilizing, no weeding, and produces fresh organic food on autopilot year after year? One that can yield up to 8 times more produce than traditional gardens to feed you and your family in times of crisis with some of the healthiest, tastiest, and most nutritious food you could possibly eat, and it can fit right in your backyard? This amazing food farm works under some of the most extreme weather conditions in places such as the Jordanian Desert, South Africa, China, Australia, and in every corner of the United States, including Alaska. Because of the brilliant way in which it is designed, this survival garden is completely hidden in plain sight from nosy neighbors and the hungry looters that will roam the streets post-collapse in search of food. No one will ever figure out that you have an endless supply of food right in your backyard. In this pocket-sized paradise, fruit trees, veggies, and medicinal plants all live together in perfect harmony, taking care of each other, surviving and thriving the way they did for hundreds of thousands of years, without human intervention. I'm talking about beans, potatoes, carrots, spinach, squash, berries, and hundreds of other plants and fruit trees, all on autopilot, all regenerative. So please pay close attention to this presentation, because I'm about to tell you not just how cheap and easy it is to set up and maintain, compared to a regular garden and an aquaponics system, but also give you the step-by-step instructions that even a 10-year-old can follow. I call this system the ultimate survival garden, for some very good reasons. Unlike traditional gardens that attract looters, this one completely hides its goodies under a layer of leaves, trees, and wild plants. It has your back covered in times of social chaos, martial law, and a food crisis. It helps put food on the table when your stockpile runs out or gets spoiled, and can even slash your grocery bill by 70, 80, or even 100%, so you'll never have to buy food from the supermarket again. By the way, you can make it work even if all you have are a few square feet of land, and even if you live in a tiny apartment and all you have is a balcony. I don't care how much you stockpiled, you need a renewable food supply that can provide for the long, hard years following a food crisis, or until you can bug out to greener pastures. Make no mistake about it, it will take years of famine after the initial collapse, and even longer for things to go back to some sort of normal. Don't believe me? Just look at what's happening in Venezuela. 30 million people fighting for and stealing food. They're so hungry, they're literally eating dogs, cats, and pigeons, butchering animals in the zoo, attacking food trucks, and going through garbage cans. Imagine, if they can break into a zoo and attack food trucks, noticing and taking the veggies from your garden one night will be like taking candy from a baby. The food crisis is not only far from being over, but it also threatens to expand to other parts of the world, including the United States. The mega drought that everyone's talking about, the gargantuan $20 trillion debt, and the fact that 20% of American children are on food stamps are all the signs that we need to know that the next food crisis will happen the same way it did in Venezuela. Tough economic factors, aggressive socialist measures, and a president who's knowingly taking the country to self-destruction. Regardless of what social freebies the leftists will hand out next, out of your tax dollars, one thing is clear. A crisis is near, and it's going to be 5, 10, or even 20 long, tough years until things come back to some sort of normal. To prepare for it, a stockpile is a great start, but also not enough. You need a steady food supply, one that can keep you and your family well fed for years to come, one that won't get stolen one night, because waking up one morning to see your entire stash gone is going to be not just a devastating blow, but also the end of your survival journey. A garden or farm will always attract the hungry, and unless you're willing to guard it 24/7 and set up an expensive lighting and monitoring system that won't work after an EMP anyway, you might not get to eat all that food. There is a solution to all of this, one that's actually dirt cheap to implement. But before I go into that, let me properly introduce myself. My name is Dan F. Sullivan, and I'm the owner and editor-in-chief of SurvivalSullivan.com, one of the biggest survival blogs on the internet. Maybe you're one of my fanatic subscribers, or maybe you stumbled upon my articles on sites such as